berth out of the Hockey East Conference. I'm joined by head coach David Quinn in his third season and senior forward Danny O'Regan and senior defenseman Matt Grzelcyk. Coach, if you could just open it up with the opening statement for us, and we'll open it up for questions for the student athletes and the head coach. And as a reminder, the BU locker room is open during this time period, half an hour as well.
Well, first of all, we're excited to be here. Obviously, it's been a good year for us, or we wouldn't be here. But obviously, not the finish we wanted. Losing in the fashion that we did certainly left a bad taste in our mouth. And one of the things we've talked about over the last 2 weeks is that it's been a while since we've had a feel-good moment. The last feel-good moment we had as a team was a Friday night win in Notre Dame. Lost a tough game the next night, 1-0. Peterson had 39 saves. Thought we played well and kind of struggled since then. And after we lost to Lowell that Saturday night, where everything kind of caved in on us, I think our guys have done a really good job of getting back to the basics and feeling good about themselves. And one of the things we talked about during this long 2-week stretch was the best way to feel good about yourself is to put forth an effort, work hard, and have good practices. And probably the best stretch of practices we've had all year long were the last 2 weeks. And I certainly give a lot of credit to the two guys to my left. They've done a great job not only keeping our guys focused, but setting a great example in practice. And you can just feel a different attitude over the last 2 weeks evolving. There's a confidence within our group, and I know we're excited to play a very good Denver team tomorrow night. I know we played them earlier in the season, and we were fortunate enough to get out with a 5-4 overtime victory. They're one of the best teams we've played all year. They're well coached. They've got a great transition game. Their defense get involved. So we're going to have to be at our best to give ourselves a chance to win tomorrow night defensively. We've got to make sure we're committed to playing the body without being reckless and without taking ourselves out of the play. And we've got to make sure we manage the puck well. But, I know our guys are excited about the opportunity of playing in a national tournament. It's a whole new season. And we really relied on our seniors all year long. They've done a great job. These two guys have had great years next to me. Both are first-team All-Hockey East players, and deservedly so. They've been an awful lot to our program, on and off the ice. And when you've got leadership like we have, you feel good about your chances.
Open up for questions for everybody. Just please say your name and your affiliation for the Boston University folks.
Dan Myers, College Hockey News. David, you talked a little bit about your seniors there. What have you liked about what you've seen from one of your freshmen, Jordan Greenway, how he's developed here as the season's gone along, and just his overall game?
Well, Jordan, at Thanksgiving had 2 points and was starting to show signs of coming on, and certainly has had a great second half. Has had a huge impact in a lot of our games. Obviously his size is obvious to everybody, but he's a great athlete, very fluid and coordinated for a guy that's 6'5", 220 pounds, has really good skills, shoots the puck a ton, although we'd like to have him more than 5 goals. He has a playmaker's mentality, and I know that he needs to become more of a shooter, but he's very difficult to defend down low. He's a smart player, and he's earned the opportunity to play on our top line, and since we put that line together, they've been a legitimate #1 line.
Jess Myers, USA Hockey Magazine. Danny, how much has this season been about unfinished business with the way last year ended?
Yeah, definitely, like you said, left a terrible taste in our mouths. It was a long off season. It was a difficult start to the season, just knowing we could have been the defending champs. But I mean, we've all used it as motivation, and we know what it was going to take to get back to the tournament. And I think we got a great number of guys who played in the tournament last year. So I mean, they all know what it takes to get to that final game to be in that position. So I mean, everyone's done a great job just using it as motivation, and hopefully we can turn it on here.
Yeah, Pat Borsey with the Boston Herald. For Danny and Matt, besides working really hard in practice, I mean, are there any other kind of things as seniors that you guys could have thought of that just kind of help people bond or get together in these 2 weeks since the Lowell series?
I think it all kind of started in the summer, really, for us. I think looking back at last year, we know that we needed to incorporate the freshmen as much as we can, and I think that was really important for us. I think building chemistry off the ice definitely leads to chemistry on the ice. So I think we've had a pretty close-knit team all year. I think as, seniors, you kind of talked about just, whether it's just, having them over to our dorm rooms to, watch college basketball or anything, just to give them that comfortability coming into our rooms at any point in time. I think really kind of sets them at ease, and I think it allows us to have a close-knit team.
NathanWellswell.com. Coach, you alluded to it a little earlier. What do you like about that first line since putting it together?
Well, I think they all bring a little bit something different to the table. Jordan certainly brings the size aspect to it. Jacob is a great two-way player who's responsible in all three zones. Danny's a dynamic player who's also responsible in all three zones, and they all compete. One of the things that all three of them do is they compete around the puck. And when you have three guys with that type of talent that compete around the puck, they possess it more times than not. They're more of an offensive threat. I think they can generate offense once the play's established in the offensive zone, but I also think they have the ability to create offense off a transition. And I think sometimes that's hard to do at any level. When you've got the ability to generate offense off a transition, and once you establish a half-court game, so to speak, using a basketball term, that makes it for a very dangerous line. I think those guys all have the ability to do both of those things.
David, you mentioned a little bit the earlier season meeting with Denver. How much stock can you take in that game, when you're as removed from it now as you are?
I don't think much. I think they're a much better team than they were then, and I thought they were really good back in October. Obviously, they've had a great second half, but I know they're a lot better than they were in October. I hope we're a lot better than we were in October, but I think you might be able to pick up a thing or two. But at the end of the day, I think we're two different teams than we both were in October.
David, last year you had a regional in Manchester and then a Frozen Four in Boston. This year, St. Paul and then potentially Florida if you win 2 games here. What are the advantages or disadvantages of kind of getting away from home and playing away from the distractions and things like that?
Well, I think we've been a pretty good road team despite the way our season ended at Lowell. And looking at our record, we've played well on the road. I know we started out 0-3, and then we really had a nice stretch of playing well on the road. I think the last game against Lowell was kind of a snowball effect that was coming on for the last 2 weeks leading into that game. But our guys don't mind playing on the road. And, as Matt alluded to, we've got a close group. I think they like going on the road. They like traveling together. They like staying in the hotel and eating meals together the way we do. So our guys embrace it. And if you're going to win championships, you got to win games on the road and at home. And especially in the NCAA, you never get a home game to win a national tournament. So we've like we've talked about, we're fortunate that we're a little bit battle tested on the road. We've played in these situations before, so our guys are excited. And our guys are excited about getting on the road. To be quite honest with you, I think if we had our druthers, we were hoping to go on the road. I don't think we wanted to stay in either Albany or Worcester. So nothing against those two cities, but I think our guys are looking forward to getting on the road. And forget who was in the bracket. I think we were looking forward to either playing in Minneapolis or Cincinnati.
Yeah, David, you mentioned that you guys developed some confidence, a little more confidence in the 2 weeks that you practice. That can sometimes be hard to do when you don't really have a game to look back on.
Right.
Are there anything, other than having the guys work hard and have that work ethic, are there a couple of specific things that you worked on in practice that you think contributed to that greater confidence?
I think we got back to blocking and tackling. We had defended well the second half of the season, and then if you looked at the way we defended against Lowell, it looked like a Chinese fire drill. It looked like we had never practiced D-zone coverage before. And, when you break it down and you get back to basics and do 1-on-1s and 2-on-2s and lead into 3-on-3s and then D-zone coverage and, talk about the specifics. These guys have heard this a lot. I equate it to golf, if you're not working on your sand game and you put a ball in the bunker, you're shaking when you go in there. You don't want to hit the shot. Well, if you spend time after time working on your sand game and you put it in the bunker, you're kind of embracing making that sand shot. So I think we're embracing playing defense and getting back to the nuts and bolts of hockey and blocking and tackling, because at the end of the day, that's what allows you to continue at this level. We think we have enough talent that if we play hard and defend well, I think that's a great combination, having some talent with that defensive mindset and being able to win one-on-one battles.
Any more questions for Boston University? All right, thanks, guys.